Over the last 10 years, we have witnessed the transformation of political communication and election campaigns, especially in the United States.
Barack Obama's 2008 presidential election campaign is a textbook example of the use of social media in political campaigning. So there was a natural anticipation and interest to see how the 2012 election would take the use of social media even further.
So as the 2012 election year was approaching, we wanted to see whether there was any significant shift in the way the Obama campaign engaged its supporters via Facebook. There's a different dynamic in being an outsider on a message of hope and being an incumbent after 4 years in the White House seeking re-election. We also wanted to look at two aspects of social media which have been under-researched. One is photographs. The visual communication is very key to how we communicate in social media. The other one is Facebook's native features, the like, comment and share button.
Clicking a like button, can that be seen as political participation? What is the actual value of a like on Facebook?
Our study looks at how people respond to specific political messages online using social buttons as metrics of civic engagement. There's a lot of hype and great expectations about the potential of social media to democratize the public sphere, to enable people to interact with politicians. The academic literature is a little bit more cautious, more conservative.
We deliberately labeled the title of the paper, Political Communication in the Age of the Like Button, as what we often seen is cynically labeled as clicktivism, where people just click a button and thereby they can be said to be active in the political sphere somehow. But what value is there into this?
So we wanted to look at how the Obama campaign tried to engage people, whether they were treating Facebook as a tool of promotion, of strategic communication, or whether they were trying to facilitate dialogue, to persuade using arguments, to listen to the people.
The particularly interesting point to look at was to see if social buttons on Facebook, such as the like button, comments and shares, could be seen as indicators of political participation, or of indicators of which political messages gained more interest or engaged users more. So, for example, would emotional appeal or emotive language engage people more? Would that attract more likes from people than, say, a policy-oriented post or a more rational, factual-based post? Now, these are questions that were very interesting from the very start, and this also turned out to be the more specific research questions that we asked in this paper.
So we collected every message posted by the Obama campaign on Facebook between September 1st and November 6th, 2012. That's a total of 163 posts. Most of them were photo posts, so they had an image and a bit of text or a link next to them.
And this was natural as Facebook is a very visual platform. So also here we wanted to see whether there was a difference in how people engaged with the visual elements in any given post.
We took each post and analyzed it by looking at 46 different elements, from which rhetorical devices they used, to which policies they covered, to who was in the photograph, to what they were asking Facebook followers to do.
We also documented the number of interactions that every post received. So the number of likes, the number of comments, and the number of shares to each individual post.
We found that Facebook was used very strategically as a top-down promotion tool by the Obama campaign to get people to do things like donate and share posts. There was very little what we call conversation starters, so opportunities for people to express their opinion and engage in dialogue. There was one single question in the entire sample asking people to offer their opinions or something. A lot of emphasis was placed on Barack Obama's character, his family, his personality. The case for Barack Obama was built mostly on emotions and credibility rather than arguments and references to his track record. This is quite surprising for a president who has been in the White House for 4 years. He has a track record of signing some pretty historic pieces of legislation, so it's interesting that the campaign chose to focus on the more affective and emotional aspects of his message.
On the other hand, we also found that there was a pattern to how users engaged with different messages. It was very clear that people engage selectively with political messages that were posted on the Facebook page.
People were less likely to engage with promotional posts. They were more likely to engage with certain policy posts. So it looks like citizens, Facebook followers of the Obama campaign were more willing to engage in public debate about the issues than the campaign itself.
So the Obama campaign page has a limited number of followers, if you like, that are exposed to the messages that are published on the page. But the purpose seemed to be very clear, that the Obama campaign team wanted to distribute these messages even further to friends, relatives, or other connections of the people that were following. So people were prompted to share so that even more people could see. So the network effect was very much relied on to get the message out there, so to say.
Otto von Bismarck said that laws are like sausages. It's better not to see them being made. I would add academic papers to that list. We like to think of academic research as a tidy, linear process. In an ideal world, you first read the literature, you come up with a nice and focused set of research questions, you pick the methods that best address these questions, you analyze your data, and you come up with coherent findings, and then produce a nice narrative and send it off to the publishers, right? Not quite. You may start with a hunch or hypothesis, then find a nice database, then go back to the literature, analyze the data. It's very much a back and forth process. So for example, with this particular paper, we had two main threads to our data. On the one hand, we had the content of the messages, the rhetorical tools used, and so on. On the other hand, we had the reception, how people responded to them, which ones they liked, which ones they commented and shared. So we played with different iterations of the research questions and how these could map onto the findings. We tried different ways of structuring the material, for example, taking each theme or type of post and combining production and reception per theme. But actually we found that that didn't quite work. The narrative was a bit disjointed, a bit descriptive. A couple of the peer reviewers picked up on that. So then we moved everything around, separated the two main threads and talked about campaign content and strategy first, and then reception and engagement second, and just immediately everything clicked together.
But in the end, we found that we had some very substantive and very good, useful results. And so it did indeed pay off. The hard work did indeed pay off.
Research is very much a creative process. It involves interpretation and connecting things. It's messy, it's untidy, it's complex, and the beauty of research is being able to take that mess and make sense out of it, to produce a narrative, to create a narrative that is not just accessible and coherent, but also accurate and true to your data.